Welcome to Thrive Nation Inspiration. I'm your host, Dr. Tiana. I'm a coach, mentor, and life strategist helping women increase their resilience and strengthen their walk with God. So if you're new here, make sure to say hello. I would love to meet you. And this is our weekly check-in, just giving y'all some encouragement for the week, reminding you the importance of self-investment, reminding you the importance of learning and growing and being open to all of the things that allow you to thrive. And so today, I'm actually going to keep it pretty short and sweet, but I wanted to check in to see if you all have seen or listened to this month's episode of our podcast. So Mended Hope has a podcast, and it's Mended Hope Podcast, and you can access us on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, or on our website. And this month's episode was just so amazing. We interviewed Miss Candace, who is the owner and CEO of the Unfathered podcast. And so she talked about her father wound and her struggles with fatherlessness and how it created this challenge in her life, and how she details in the podcast like the practical steps that she took to first recognize this father wound and then work through it. And it was just such a sacred time. It was such an honor to be able to interview her. And it made me just think about all of the other women in our community that may also be struggling with fatherlessness, or it doesn't necessarily have to be not having a father. It could be a father who is detached, a father who is maybe emotionally unavailable, maybe a father who is maybe struggling through his own things like addiction or mental health challenges. And so it just really was such a powerful and sweet time to just hear her perspective and hear her heart. And it made me think about other women that may be struggling with fatherlessness. And I just have to say that God, yes, is the ultimate father. And I'm also grateful that I have an earthly father who is highly engaged in my life, and I don't take that for granted. At certain points in my life, I did. And I think as I've gotten older, I don't take that for granted, and I don't take it lightly, and I don't, it does not escape me that a lot of women do not have great relationships with their fathers, or their fathers are not around for reasons that they cannot control or were not within their control. So this actually just makes me think about a recent conversation that I had with my dad. And we were just talking about just life and how things have been really difficult for me these last, I would say now almost 2 years. I have just been in a season of heartbreak, to be quite honest about it. And we were talking, and I was just saying, like, you know, I'm really looking forward to this season being over. And there was just so much, you know, happening between pregnancy loss and breast cancer and, you know, marital challenges. And so it's just been a lot to take on. And so what he said to me, it like just made me weep. And he said, you have to know that you are proof positive that God is who he says he is. And it just like melted my heart because it was such a big statement. It was such a big statement, and it really put into perspective the things that I have struggled with and been challenged with. And it helped me to walk a little taller, honestly, and to like have my father speak that over me. It just really meant so much. And so if you have a father in your life and maybe the relationship is not as great as you would want it to be, make the effort. Life is short and you only get one parent, one of each parent, right? And so I think it's worth it, because there are things that fathers add to your life that help make it more complete. And I'm not just saying this just because of, my own personal relationship with my dad, but also I'm also saying it because it is an issue that I believe so firmly in. And I actually did my dissertation for my doctorate on fathers and about, the services that were available for homeless fathers. And it talked about how, society has really framed men or the male figure as more of a financial contributor to the lives of children. But the research is very clear, and from all of my experience in social work, it is very evident that children need both. They need both. They need their dads as well, and dads contribute a significant part of a child's identity and development. And even though, yes, there are some of us who maybe have done okay and their mothers have stepped in and done a phenomenal job, and I'm not negating that or saying that that is not valid or that there are not examples of that. But what I'm saying is that there is scientific proof that children, and I would even say specifically in Black and brown communities, they absolutely need to have that figure, because it's not about the financial contribution, it's about presence and having somebody there that acknowledges them and that can affirm them and that can validate that they matter. And when you have children who don't have that, they struggle in their lives. And this is in the proof. The data is very clear about, the number of children who are on drugs, who are struggling maybe in the juvenile justice system, who are struggling with academic learning. Like, many of these children do not have fathers or a positive male role model in their lives. And so it's super essential. It's super essential. And I will argue anybody about it, because I believe that strongly in it, that I actually did a research study about it, because I don't think that there's enough acknowledgement around it. And so this week's topic is about that. And I don't know what your father wound is. If you have a father wound and you're listening to this, I pray blessings over you, and I pray that you find healing and wholeness and restoration and reconciliation. And I hope that you recognize that forgiveness is the only option that will end in a positive outcome. And I know that to be true. So I am inviting you into a new way of thinking and or being. And if you're a mom and you have kids and you are maybe struggling with the kid's father, recognize that your kids need that identity. They need that male figure, that male perspective, regardless of his ability to provide financially. Okay? I know that might be a hard thing to listen to, or a hard pill to swallow, but I'm always committed to telling you the truth in love. And so I hope that you can work through whatever it is that exists there and try to find some common ground for the sake of your kids. All right? Because at the end of the day, it's all about the kiddos, and kiddos grow up to be adults with father wounds if they do not, work through those things and have strong and loving, supportive female figures to encourage those relationships. So that's all I got for y'all today. I hope that y'all have an amazing week. Check out the podcast this week. You will love Candace. Make sure you go and follow her content. She's on Facebook and Instagram on the Unfathered Podcast. And make sure you celebrate that queen, because she's really incredible. So that's all I got for y'all. This is the end of Thrive Nation Inspiration for the week. And I will check in with y'all next Monday. All right.